Hello YouTube, welcome to another episode of TeamWatch. Today is episode 11. I also have our guest here today, Mr. Zigzag himself.
Hello.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
I am ZigZagSC. People just call me Zig, or I cast for the AG community. I've been casting for quite a while now, actually. I came from a league called PWL, which is, I believe, talked about last episode in Mega. That's where I started casting, and I came into AG there. I also play in the AG community originally for Skybound, then I moved to Winnie Hut Juniors, and now Saints. I am on Saints as a main tank / off tank. So yeah, that's kind of my role in the community.
No, that's pretty cool. We've been waiting for a Overwatch or a TeamWatch episode for a while now. It's just been because I've been trying to keep it in such a way where like one person per like team or origin, so you get more of a base thing.
Yeah,
but now,
I respect that
now I'm just doing whoever wants it to do it, and then we'll move on from there. We'll definitely look forward to other TeamWatch episodes in the future. But for now, it's your episode. Yeah, it was really cool. I first, because there was a period of time where you weren't really around casting games, because I remember this is kind of where I joined as a caster. And then everyone's like, oh, Mex, this is awesome. And then they're like, almost as good as Zigzag. And I was like, what? Who's this? I've never heard this guy before. And then, I don't know if you were on vacation or something, came back and I heard you. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
I believe it was around July, August time, wasn't it? Because I went away for 6 weeks to an island that belongs to Spain called
That's
Mallorca,
pretty cool.
and I had a great time there. But I was craving Overwatch. I was like, by the end of it, I was like, let's get me back to casting. But and then obviously as I left, I was just watching a lot of the AGL season 1. That because I was quite gutted I missed it, to be fair. So then obviously new casters come in, and obviously you have you, and at the beginning, the beginning of your casting, I was like, oh, okay, this guy's good. He's because obviously I'm still quite new to it. I hadn't been casting for long when I did leave for vacation, but towards the season finale, I was really impressed with kind of like how you hyped up big plays and all that sort of thing, because that's kind of what I look for in a good caster. Like, I believe a good caster is someone that can kind of entertain the stream to say, like, so that, because if you're watching it, you don't want to just have a monotone person speaking factual all the time. It kind of gets a bit boring. It doesn't really hype up, and people don't get interested. But I guess that's kind of what you do great. You hype up big plays. I remember all the plays from the AGL season 1 finale. I remember, I think it was a Skybound Lightning Winnie Hut Juniors game, which I watched now. It was literally to the point where I was biting my nails, and you're casting. I think it was that one. Then was it that one? Did you cast that game?
Possibly. I casted with the AGL season 1 finale. I casted a lot, and that was a very draining day. Like, geez. But no,
you were with Zach, right? You didn't.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Zach at his place. It was pretty cool. We met up, and it was really cool. Yeah, no, I take pride in the fact that, like, hyping up the certain plays. I'm like, this is awesome or not. But I am pretty jealous of one of our new-ish casters. I don't know if you heard Mr. Tubbs cast, but it's not very exciting, but it's such an analytical way of how he casts the games. Like, he shows this and that. It's like I've never been in such, like, in-depth into the casting right now. Oh my gosh. We're in the house is fine. We are Sophia, turn off the fire alarm. Thank you.
There's an arsonist in your home.
Yeah, it's just whenever the cooking happens, like that does the thing. But how did you get into casting anyway?
It was quite a simple story, actually. It relates a lot to Megan Milani last episode. So if you watched last episode, if you didn't, you won't know about it. So basically, there was, back after the Overguard, and if you look back to last episode, there was the PS4 community kind of split from the rest of the community in the sense of they started the PWL on their own, and I entered there as a player originally with a team called Event Horizon, and that was me, TDT, a guy called Death Ranger, and Kitab, and Mo Soda, who also plays for Turnback, and some of my friends. But there was, I think it might have been the season 1 or season 2 finale. Like it was the big playoff weekend, and like they were looking for casters, and so I was like, I'll cast. So because I'd never done it before, and I thought I'd give it a try. And I tell you what, like the first game, I was like super nervous. I would barely say a word. I was with Mega Milani, and to be honest, I was quite grateful because I kind of got it. Mega was kind of handling it. I was trying to say a bit, but like it got to the point where I was so nervous. I was trying to get my words out, but. So the first map was quite a disaster in that sense, and I was also streaming it, so it's kind of like, what's going on? But it was I don't know how, but like it was like the second map of the first series. It was Liu Zhang's tower, and Mega had to go halfway through, and like suddenly it kicked in, and then I kind of casted, because I cast very quickly. I talk very quickly when I cast, and I try and hype things up as much as I can.
Yeah.
I didn't know too much about the game, but I was just trying to hype things up as much as possible, and then. It was just like, it got to the point where I had to cast 5 hours on my own after never casting before in my life, and it was quite daunting actually, like, to be fair. And to be honest, I couldn't have got better feedback, like encouragement more than anything. Especially like from Mega, who had to go. He had to go, and he was hyping me up, like even when he wasn't there. And there's the owner at the time called Brett, also known. Well, I mean, I know him as Sosa Trend, but his name in the Discord was Brett. And so he was like, yo, the chat loves you and everything like that. So I guess I kind of had a passion off that, because at the end of the day, it's all about kind of if you enjoy it and if people enjoy you doing it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If people like you doing it,
it's about providing that entertainment for the crowd.
Absolutely. And so I guess I kind of got my fix off that. Then I remember I casted a game where it was a team with Supreme Marons in it against like it was the top team against like one of the bottom teams, and the bottom team won. And like ever since that game, which is like, it taught me that like really anybody can be anybody, any game can be entertaining, even if it's supposed to be written that like on paper one team will be so dominant, and then you never know, like in a game, like it happened in AGL, like Trota first weekend, it was kind of like they weren't high, were they? They were like rank 8 or rank 9, and then suddenly they come out of nowhere and we're like, oh, hang on. And it's just like that kind of, it was really anything can happen, can't it? And so
yeah.
like I just enjoy casting games where anything is possible, and I like entertaining the stream into thinking that, so it makes things less boring.
Well, that's awesome. No, I also like I got started casting with what was it? I think the first game, it was like a trial run thing. I had asked AG before, where I'm like, hey, can I cast? And he's like, oh yeah, you just need to submit video footage or something about that. I was like, okay. And then I wasn't able to get the video footage, so I think when they were doing scrims still, and they were streaming scrims, I just hopped on. I was like, hey yo, can I cast this and that? And yeah, and Shiny was there, and then someone else, I can't remember who was also casting at the time, who wasn't really a big caster. But we were like triple casting, and it was kind of interesting and kind of awkward. But
I remember the days of that. I remember, I mean, it happened before I went away. There were so many times where you have like 3 or 4 casters, and it'd be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? I like the structure that they give now. Is like, it's kind of like 2 per side, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, like that was just the time where it was crazy. Everyone really wanted to do it, but then I think the casting desire died down, just because it's not the most easy of tasks. I mean, yeah, it's fun, but it does take a lot of I guess fortitude to continue to talk about this and that, and try to keep everything interesting, because even though like an interesting match is passed by, and this match might be boring because you're like, oh, this is 2 teams that don't really care about whatever, it's like that doesn't matter, because you still gotta find the entertainment for the crowd, and so you can make them more entertaining and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe again, like it goes back to the point where I think anyone could be anyone. I don't like the situations. There's a few games I've casted where I don't even know a team called Outlaws, and like they're on another level, to be honest. They had Fanta, they had Tarnies, like, and that's like pretty much like EU wise, they are probably close to the best DPS. Like Fanta obviously on his Farah, and Tarnies on his Tracer.
Yeah, I casted a game with Fanta in it.
it got to the point where it was like absolute insanity. Like one team would just roll the other. And those are the kind of like the type of games I don't like to cast. I do like to watch because for me, there's nothing wrong with one team absolutely dominating another. Like I think it's like a phenomenal show of like how good they can be, but it's kind of not as entertaining to cast as a really close game.
Yeah, like that. I think that's overall too. Like when one team totally obliterates another, it is interesting to watch, but I don't think it's going to provide that same level of entertainment if like these teams are neck and neck and they're both providing well jobs and it's like really close game and it's just like whoa, this is crazy.
It's like, so for example, like in the World Cup, I'm not sure if people like I don't know if you've seen it or not, but America versus Korea. So like a lot of people, as well as South Korea, a lot of people were like, oh, it's so one-sided, it's not going to be entertaining.
Yeah,
as
no.
It was in as it was in the first World Cup. But it got to the point where these teams were so they were matching each other up, like Jake on the DPS. It got to the point where more than anything, it's like the hero plays, isn't it? That's what's most entertaining to cast, isn't it? When one team's down 4-0 in a fight, or 3 versus 6, and one guy, and then like Flower comes out of nowhere and kills the whole team. It's just like you almost can't believe it yourself. And I think that's what kind of provides the fuel for people, casters, to like carry on casting, because of kind of like watching that sort of thing and casting it and making it entertaining. And
yeah,
it's kind of just great to watch, isn't it?
No, it's pretty awesome. I can't wait. I want to watch some of the Overwatch League, but I haven't gotten really a chance to. Is that currently going on?
No, it was the pre-season not a few weeks ago, but it starts I think in January, like early Jan.
Oh, that'll be sick.
I mean I don't know the exact dates, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm
looking forward to like trying to root for like one team, trying to figure out which team I want to like. For. I'm thinking about the Shanghai Dragons. I'm really digging their I don't know, I guess their vibe. Because everyone's like the Texas Fuel or whatever, and I'm just like, that's cool, and that's like a cool name. Or Dallas Fuel, excuse me. Well, Dallas is in Texas, whatever. But yeah, and I'm like kind of hipster in the fact like everyone likes this team. I don't know if I want to choose this team as my favorite. Unless I have a reason for them to be my favorite.
You don't want to follow the crowd. You're kind of like in the sense, you're not a sheep. You're kind of like I'm
like a goat. I'm just I'm gonna go goat around over here instead.
It's a spirit animal, isn't it? It's definitely a goat.
But I can't wait for that to start off. Because casting is one of my passions, and I've wanted to like my dream would be to take it to like another level and possibly end up like on a World Cup stage, or at least casting for like regular OWL stuff. But I don't know how one would take steps to get there.
Well, I mean, you can kind of do it 2 ways. You can either because I've been looking into this. Benny applied for it, and I think Gold looked into it, and it's a basically, there's articles on Blizzard and all that sort of stuff, and careers and all that you can take into it, and you can kind of like send an email through and send your what I call a CV. You guys will probably call a resume. It's different things, but like kind of like what you can do and that sort of thing. You can also just take. I mean, if I had to give some advice, I mean, I haven't done it, but like. I'd probably say get a PC, make a reputation in online leagues, and eventually you'll get the opportunity or being given a chance. But
yeah, that's the thing.
Now, at least it's definitely about PC, isn't it? I mean, I hope it expands to console in the future, and that would be a great thing to happen.
That would be amazing.
It's PC dominated, to say the least, isn't it?
So far, yeah. I could see because I've heard talk about like. Leagues starting professionally on PS4 and whatnot, or console in general.
They've got the University League. It's the I forgot what it's called. I think it might be called the OUL or OWL or something like that. When it's universities in America and they're expanding out to Europe are I think they're doing a league on Overwatch for PC and for console. So that's for universities, but I don't really know too much about that. Do you know anything about it? Or?
I have not heard anything about that, actually. I would not know.
Yeah. But again, that's dope. Nice deal. Like, I mean, like if you talk to, what kind of what I love more than anything else is like if you talk to a few generations ago, or if you talk to adults like at a higher age, like 30s or 40s or 50s, and it's like you think about when they're kids, or even like 10 years ago, like esports is like it gets to the point where it's like, I'm sorry, competitive gaming, but like now it's kind of it's so fast growing, and I think it's got a big future ahead. Like it's just like how anyone would support a football team, how anyone would support a I don't know, a basketball team or an American football team.
Yeah.
It's like I think like obviously in the future it's going to be like that. I think it will be, at the end of the day, I support a clan, or I support Envy, or I support FaZe, or you know what I mean?
No, I get you.
Shirts and everything like that. So
yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to a future like that.
It would be quite interesting, honestly. I'd enjoy it. Casting, yeah. When are we supposed to be back? I heard like January something is when like AG is starting to do things again, or
early January, I think. The GM League is resuming, which I'm looking forward to casting, to be fair. I mean, I had doubts at first of how entertaining it would be, because I thought it'd be the situation of of having a team like Outlaws just wiping through with everybody and that sort of thing. But I think it's going to be super entertaining. I think it's going to be close. Yeah, certain teams that I like the look of. I mean, MSB looks really strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just I mean, I'm more of a. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, I'm a player. I'm a player in Masters League, so obviously I'm gonna have a bit biased towards that being more exciting. But again, it's all about expansion, really. Like the GM League. Once there'll be a GM League going, you'll get more people want to come in for the GM League, bigger prize funds, more people coming into the Masters League, more mini teams, and then more diamond teams because of that. And it's all about growth, really, isn't it? Like
yeah, it's just ever expanding.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And then if it gets to the point where there's so much growth, you can get sponsors and you can get land tournaments going and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, the infinite goal of AG is to get to that stage, like land tournaments and all of that.
Dude,
which I sort of hope that happens.
I want to have like an AG convention. I think that'd be so freaking cool.
Yeah. You talked about that a few episodes, didn't you? Or
yeah,
there
was a while ago, but that would be so epic. Like setting up that, but we're like probably so far away from that kind of point to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, if age in order for that to happen, they would have to plan it in like a year in advance, so people would know, hey, this date this year, get ready or get funds or be available, and so you could have that preparation.
I mean, I'm all up for me and anybody, to be honest. Anywhere, anytime, any place. We just need to get the money, obviously, to do it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like in a year in advance, you could save up the money too, or at least try your best for that. But
put it in England.
What was that?
Have it in England. Have all of you guys come over to me.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't mind visiting England, but still, it'd be crazy.
Oh yeah. What is it about? Do you like anything particularly about England?
I just like want to go explore, really, like see what Europe has to offer. I mean, I've heard good things about England and whatnot, and I would like to see it out. Yeah, check it out.
I mean, there are some good things. I mean, like if I had to, I think I like the people. Like, I don't think you get any really bad people. Like, obviously I can't say it for any other countries. Obviously, I don't know about. I don't know if there are bad people anywhere else, but like. I feel like I can really talk to a lot of people that I can talk to, and that everyone helps each other more than anything. And I think because we're an island, and because we're kind of like, I think we're all kind of stick together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess. I mean, like a lot of countries in Europe are very much about their neighbours, and with them and their neighbours are like, I don't know, like you know what I mean, like. Kind of more Eastern European countries are very much. I mean, this is like I assume this because obviously I don't really know, but they're very much like pro between them and their neighbours. But like obviously as England's like on its own, it's kind of like excluded from the EU a little bit, and obviously that's one of the reasons to do with Brexit, obviously. Which is interesting. I'm not sure if you want to get into a conversation about that, which is very complicated. But
yeah.
But yeah, we've got our issues. I mean, it's bad for now, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, if you don't know specifics, we were supposed to pay 100, I think it was 100 billion to get out of the EU, and we only ended up having to pay for 40 because of Theresa May's negotiation tactics, which I think is a phenomenal deal, to be fair. But and as well as that, trade's going up, and I mean, we won't talk about specifics because I don't really have them, but I think it's kind of working out a lot in our favour. But yeah, I think I'd love to see everyone come to England.
That'd be cool. Like, just a meetup in general would just be awesome, just seeing everyone, and then like everyone being what was I gonna say? Basically, because it's the same feeling. I don't know if you met anyone else online. Like when I met Zach, I did not expect him to look as he sound. Like when you hear someone, you expect him to look a certain way. Zach, it's kind of weird to explain. Like unless you like constantly see pictures of them, then you're like, oh, they kind of look like that person or whatever. But I don't know.
I'd probably have you as a I think I'd say just smaller than 6 foot and like fairly stocked up, like as in like a really cool looking dude. Like, to be fair, like
me,
I mean, like that's what your voice. I would have you as just smaller than 6 foot, quite short hair. Wait, you're Mexican, are you originally? Or,
yeah.
Because obviously your name's Big Fat Mex, so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, it's Big Fat Mex, so I assume maybe that. But
no, I mean, I'm like.
Don't take a big price cover.
I'm like 5'8", and yeah, short hair. I've actually been growing out a beard, and I don't know if I want to shave it or not yet. We'll see. But yeah, the appearances can be really weird. I actually don't know how I expect you to look, actually.
Okay.
You're probably over 6 foot. Everyone I see.
Dude. I'm tiny.
Really?
I'm 5'6", 5'7", mate.
Really? Wow. It's like, and it's more because I expect, because everyone I've really met, like everyone's over 6 foot. Like Zach's over like 6'2", and Plague is like 6 something, and it's like Air is like 6. I'm like, oh my gosh, all these people are so huge. I'm like, wow.
I mean, I've got a profile picture on Discord, but again, it's not really clear because it's like it's got like the black and white bit, or it's got a cloth over it or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But, 5'7", I'd say. Fairly long hair. And
I
again,
can't.
A bit lean, but no, I haven't really got any kind of like height or fat. I'm just a small dude with a bit of muscle. That's kind of like it.
Yeah, I can't do the long hair. Like it just doesn't look right on me, I think.
I mean, I normally have it short, but I'm kind of trying to like test something out. But I mean, back to the like meeting anybody online. Like again, like well, obviously there's not a lot of people that live in England from the community. I mean, there are a few like Swervesters, but he lives nowhere. Like he lives about an hour away from me. But Sphinx, if you know Sphinx, he doesn't live too far away from me. He lives Norwich, which is like, I mean, sorry for exposing you, Sphinx, but no, I mean, he's not too far. So, I mean, planning to in the future maybe getting a train up there and so that should be dope. But again,
that'd be sick.
We've known each other since the PWL, so.
Dang.
Yeah, no, I completely get the point of like, I find it quite entertaining of anything, don't you? Like, oh, what do you look like? I wonder, you know what I mean? Like face reveal, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and then that's yeah.
I wonder what AG looks like.
AG?
That's the question.
I think I know what AG looks like. He's probably, I think he's like Puerto Rican or something, so he's probably dark skin.
Yeah.
Probably has short hair. I would say he's like, he's probably anywhere from like 5'6" to like 5'11".
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's just he's got one of those voices that you can just kind of, I don't know, that I've kind of seen a lot around here before, but
I want him to cast.
I mean,
I would love to see him.
There was this one video, and well, AG's gonna like listen to this anyway. But there was this one video where he's like trying to cast with someone, and like the other person doesn't have their mic shared, so he's like talking to himself and talking to someone else. And I remember because he's like, "Oh, your mic on?" He's like, "Okay, cool." And the guy's mic wasn't there on, and he's like, kind of cussing and whatnot in it, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I mean crap," or and like it was just funny seeing him try to cast. It was kind of a blast.
Yeah. The one thing though, there is a point I'd like to bring up about sometimes, because obviously when you cast, obviously you try and keep positive, you do end up saying some things like that can be perceived as like, if someone messes up, at the end of the day as a caster you say what you can see, you say if someone's not performing well at the end of the day, don't you? Like if someone's speeding or someone's staggering, you say it, and off that you can get a bit of like, there was one time, I'm not gonna mention who it was, but I said something about, I said, I think one or twice I said something about them shooting projectiles or splash damage, because obviously I noticed them, there was one time he or she, again won't mention, killed someone due to 3 splash damage hits, and I was just like, due to splash damage, he or she gets the kill due to and then it was just like, it got to the point where I get a message, like so basically I'm rambling on, but sometimes like you get messages of like, oh, like why are you chatting BS and why you. And at the end of the day, I think the one thing I would say is that casting's a lot harder than it seems, and I'm sure you would agree with that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you say what you see.
Yeah, like, well, that was the thing too, because like you want to give what's happening, but without such a opinionated stance. Because I've seen people cast and they would say like, oh, here they're coming in and they've already lost this game, and like there's still an opportunity before, and I hate that. I'm like, the game isn't over yet, and I know that it's very one-sided for like a certain match, but I'm always saying we've seen crazy comebacks before, or instead of saying like this team is doomed, like I'll say like this team is looking down, but they are not out, and they're gonna be giving their all and whatnot. And
Coach is a perfect example, isn't it, of AGL? Like I think it was 3 games in a row they pulled 2-1 sweeps, and that just goes to show, like, even if you do lose the first map, like Canada as well against Australia in the cup, they were 2-0 down. It just goes to show that it's not over until the final overtime of the final game of the final series.
Exactly. And it's also stuff like, people also get mad if you call them personally, like, oh, this was a terrible move by this person, and I don't like to say like, oh, this is a terrible move, unless it's something like they went out of position. Yeah, I mean, because like, I would say because there might be like strategy behind it. Like if you go out of your position way, like you could say they took a gamble trying to like dive into their backline or something to try to get a kill, but the gamble didn't pay off, or something along those lines, instead of saying it was like a terrible mistake. There's just the ways, because I've been in customer service for the longest time, and I'm used to like tiptoeing around, like calling people out on things and like saying different stuff.
I mean, like there are certain parts of like doing that. It's kind of like, you don't want to say, oh, they're awful, oh, they're throwing, obviously, because that's kind of like beyond the mark. But at the end of the day, as a caster, you've got to say whether something is good or bad. You can't. At the end of the day, it's ignorant, and it's. I mean, I'm not sure if I can find the right word, but it's kind of trying to find. I don't know what the right word would be here, but it would kind of like sum up like, imagine if I was casting and someone was to feed or someone was to wait as their ult, and I'd be like, oh, a good choice to use their ult, like, as in like good. I mean, it's the point of, you've got to say they've wasted their ult, because that is what they have done in the situation. Like if someone were to use a rocket barrage and hit nobody, or someone to, I don't know, if Chaser was to throw.
See, like what I would say there, I would say more like, it looks like Farrah pops the rocket barrage trying to find anything, not finding anything though with it, or something like that, instead of saying like they wasted it or things like that, because like it's just those words that like tilt people for some reason. They're like, you were like, even me, I get tilted sometimes watching streams back, and I'm like, I did this better because this and that, and that's why I try to avoid personal, or not personal, well, I guess personal is the right word, like words on how they're playing, because they might be trying to achieve they're trying to achieve an objective that you might not like. The rocket barrage that missed no one might have been trying to zone something into something else, and that might have worked for them, or like you don't really know the team's like comms and seeing what they're trying to do with their ults and things like that.
At the end of the day, if they're cool to use the barrage and they use it because their captain or shot caller said, and they don't get anything, then fair play. Like,
yeah, but it might have ended up working for them, because maybe it cleared off the payload, or maybe it pushed them onto the payload or something for like Blizzard to come in or something, or like this game has so many ways to play. It's so hard. This game has so many ways to play. It's so hard to say this was a correct decision, this was an incorrect decision on this and that. Like, it's more of a thing like their choice to do this didn't work this time, if it didn't work, and things like that. Rather than saying like you're wrong for choosing this way, or you wasted this thing, and that's stuff I'm really used to. Just like working in customer service all my life has really been doing that, really.
Yeah. True. I mean, obviously there are the certain things, like imagine if you were to throw a grab or pulse bomb and it would just sort of get deflected. I mean, you say that was quite a bad, you know what I mean, but then...
Well, that's not the thing, too, because if that happened, then I would say, looks like the Zarya was trying to get the grab off, but the Genji reacted in time to deflect it back.
You more praise the Genji than either.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I would go about us talking about that, praise the Genji for that, and instead of, like, because positivity overall is really where you want to be, in my opinion, because it makes everyone a little more happy rather than focusing on the negatives, like, these people are bad because they did this, and this people bad, because then everyone's pissed off, and then it's like, and that stuff, like, I don't know where that came from, but I'm like, that, I mean, why does that have to be a thing? That should have just been like, I'm positive because I'm positive, and I don't, like, I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, okay. But yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about this, it's all, at the end of the day, every caster, if we're talking about casting particularly, I mean, every caster has something to improve. Like, we talk about, everyone has something to work on. We even give each other some feedback. Like, Bentley gives me a lot of feedback, like, in terms of, like, talking speeds and all that sort of stuff. But it's all about
when it comes to me, like, even though I'm saying, like, don't, like, now that I have time to think about it, there will be times when I'm casting and I'm saying, oh, the Pharah shouldn't have gone off and done this thing, and then I reflect back on that, I'm like, I shouldn't have said it like that, because I make mistakes casting too. And I need to work on, I want to work on my analytical game more like Tubs or Gold Streams, because I feel like I can hype things up like whatever, but it's just the fact of this hard facts, because Tubbs will be like, I don't know if you watched the was it the AGL2 season finale? I don't remember if that's when Tubbs was casting me for me. I know you were casting with Gold Streams, I think, and I think me and Tubbs were on the other side possibly. Like he would say, oh, they're pushing in right now, but he's kind of in a monotone-ish way, and I need to talk to him more about it, but he was saying like oh, they're pushing in now, but they're pushing in with their Lucio in a bad spot for them, and it's going to be hard for them to pull it off like this. And like I'd let him do most of the talking, and then when he's like kind of in a dead zone, then I'll pick it up and say like, yeah, you're right, this is actually going to be kind of difficult for them, especially, and then I'll add something like, especially if their Reinhardt is low on their shield as he is right now, and it's going to break soon, and then he'll pick it up. And I feel like my favorite casting partner so far has been Tubbs, even though I've only casted with him once. It was like it was such a synergetic thing, and I just loved it so much. And I hope we can cast together again.
I mean, it's all about I mean, like, you talk about synergy within teams, it's synergy within casters as well. Like, for me, I've casted with a lot of people. I mean, I've casted with Angels, I've casted with Benny, I've casted with Mega, I've casted with Gold. Yeah. I'm not sure if I've casted with you, actually, but I think maybe once, or
I think we've casted together once before. It was, like, very brief. I think you left, too, as well. But, I've never casted with Gold because he said he didn't want to cast with people, and then after it was like a couple days after that he started casting me. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's cool with casting with Zig though, so that's cool.
I mean,
but
I mean, for me, it's kind of, I mean, I try to cast with everyone, because obviously you can't. You say, oh, I don't want to cast with them, even though like if you've never casted them before, because it's kind of like judging and all that sort of stuff. But there are certain people I would be I mean, I wouldn't be so keen on casting with, because you can't have if you cast as a duo, you kind of like colliding types of casters. So like me and Benny don't really work together because we're both very good at hyping up, but neither of us are exceptionally analytical about things. So that's why Benny and I wouldn't work necessarily together. But that's the reason why I cast so much with gold, because gold we're kind of opposites in a way. And like for me, I will always say my number one, or my number, like for me always, like anyone I've casted with or have seen casting in these PS4 communities has been gold, because he's so good at not only casting on his own, not only like, I mean, he's analytical, he's very analytical, he knows a lot about the game, as well as that he can hype things up very well. I mean, he's a jack of all trades, but as well as that, I mean, he's so good at making it easy for me to cast with him. He's good at, like, we have a rule where it's like 15 seconds, like, or kind of like, so we never end up interrupting each other. And like everyone I've casted with, the only person I don't really interrupt with is gold, because I think Mega Milani is very much go with the flow kind of guy. And
yeah, Mega Milani will like to sit in the background and put in input every now and then. And his Mega's
every once in a while, you know.
Mega's view on the game is amazing. Like that last episode, like it was just really cool to see his point of view on the meta and whatnot. I was really intrigued. He gets a lot of flack, but the man knows his game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of have, in terms of meta, I have a different stance to most people. I still think, like, well, it might have something to do with between EU and NA, because I know there are differences between that. You see a lot more Reinhardt still in EU. It's not like a lot of people are on about like Reinhardt not being very useful, but it gets to the point where,
oh, dude, I always love running Reinhardt.
It's still every game, pretty much. Orisa's very powerful. You don't see too much Zarya anymore. You see a lot of Zarya, but
in
EU.
Anymore,
but, yeah, you see a lot of Zarya, but not anymore. But like, the one thing I would say we see so much in EU is pharmacy, and that's something that I still disagree with in the matter. I mean, you can talk about Junkrat. If you talk about, I mean, you know this. Like I think for EU since season 4, there's always been a stigma of pharmacy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can talk about Junkrat being OP, but as soon as Junkrat got the buff, I thought he's going to be strong, but he's not going to be strong due to the fact that if you've got a Junkrat doing well, you just pick Pharah at the end of the day.
I don't know, because I've played personally Junkrat against Pharah, and if your team compromises and works together against it, Pharah isn't going to be enough to just stop. Like, you can't pick Pharah and just immediately win when they have a Junkrat.
This is why I Q on NA. I'll tell you why. This is why I Q. This is why I Q on NA, right? So you said that if the team works together. So for example, if you've got one team that runs pharmacy and another team that's trying to deal with it, it is a really good Pharah. In NA, you've got a lot of people in voice channel. Everybody talks about, okay, right, so we need a hit scan. That hit scan needs to be pocketed by the Mercy as well. So it's kind of a battle between a McCree and a Pharah, or a Soldier and a Pharah, or a Soldier and a Mercy. But in EU, and this is why I hate queuing on EU, is that nobody speaks English, dude. Like, it's either the main Arabic and French are kind of like the main languages. So it gets to the point where I'm in a game, I have a 4 stack of Arabics or Duke of Frenches, for example, or black people of French, for example.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what they're saying. We can't communicate, and when they've got a pharmacy on the other team, we can't deal with it. At the end of the day, you can't have, I mean, you could talk about pick a McCree, oh, there you go, dealt with pharmacy, but at the end of the day, if you're on your own as a McCree, your aim has to be so consistent to deal with it, unless you have a pocket, which can be organised on an NA server. Can't, because of the language, no language barriers, and you get a lot, because of that, you get a lot more people in voice chat, don't you?
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's more or less people, because I haven't really queued in EU, but it seems like there's when I queue for an NA, there's a lot of people who don't talk on their mics anyway.
There is a lot more communication though. Like, I mean, I've queued.
Yeah, I could see that with like all the languages and whatnot. But yeah.
But yeah, this season I've just queued on NA a lot of the time. I mean, other than solo queue, which I've gone on EU, which is an absolute nightmare. I've just queued on NA. Yeah. How's your season gone, Max? Has it gone well?
Wait, season 7 over? Hold on.
Yeah. And
okay. I haven't touched Overwatch in so long. I think I ended the season in Diamond, honestly, because I didn't make it to Masters this time. I didn't put enough time in. Hold on. I played 7 hours of season 7. That was it. I only put 16 in Season 6. Like, the time I playing Overwatch has been going down. I played mostly in Season 2.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about the game going stale, but for me, it's kind of like a lot to do with the scene. Like, I play it for the pro, for like, I'd say pro, for the competitive scene, as in like leagues and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, see, that's where I really like it too, and that's what kind of sucks. That's one issue I had too with our season, like, because you have to play in competitive mode, and do whatever to play, and I haven't. Well, I don't know. I'm probably gonna place next. I'll probably place next season and try to get to Masters at least, so I can get those bonus hero points. Which I didn't even get my 2,000. No, that sucks.
It's less. I tell you what, like, I don't really care about Golden Guns at this stage. It's just a struggle to get the Orisa emote because I accidentally spent my 3,000 on the Roadhog skin. And I then watched an XQC stream and saw him look at the Orisa emote, and I hadn't seen the Orisa emote before that. And I was just like, my heart was melting, dude. And I was like, I need it. And so I have no hope of getting it pretty much. I've got one loot box which I'm actually going to open now, to be fair. So. I need to get that Hanzo skin before the season ends, and we don't have that much time. I need to crack down and just. I'll probably just play arcade. I might buy loot boxes. I don't know. I've never bought loot boxes before, but yeah. Yeah, neither do I, to be fair. So it's kind of just like that, going on that grind. Yeah. Do you think we'll win the gym league?
I haven't seen anything about the GM league. I don't know the teams. I don't know who's playing. I don't know who's favored to win. I don't know anything. I've been working like crazy, and ever since the AGL season 2 ended, like the holidays have been such terrible time for me. Like working at a game store, it's been honestly ridiculous, and I can't wait because my schedule is finally kind of cooling off after the new year. So hopefully I'll be more around to cast more stuff and check more things out, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of the league, for me, MSB look really good. I haven't looked too much because obviously it's only 1 week, and obviously you can't really say too much after that, but I mean, yeah, MSB. I think honestly, I think the Jade will do surprisingly well. I'd probably put money on them because it's kind of like an outside-ish bet, but it's like not like too outside. I think if they get another good player, it doesn't really matter what role. I think they'll do well. But what do you think of the playoffs? Did you enjoy the Master playoffs?
I didn't see it, dude. Like the playoffs for the GM season.
No, what about the
AGL season 2?
The end, yeah, the end. Throughout, like really, we could do it like that, I guess.
Oh well, I mean, when I was casting hotels, I thought Team J was just ridiculous. They're all like my picks for like the top players. They were like all Team J. Like their Reinhardt was like amazing, and Dova was a dream to watch. I love watching a Reinhardt. Their DPS, what was his name?
Pugboy and. I can't remember the other one.
It wasn't him. It was someone else.
Oh, Queen Widowmaker? But then again, it wasn't the playoffs.
No.
I think I know who you're on about, but...
There was someone else. There was this Genji that just went crazy. And usually I'm just like, oh, whatever, Genji's doing Genji things. But this Genji was like, just ridiculous.
I think I know who you're on about. Sergeant Major Rock?
Sergeant, yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. And then their support player was Krogan. Krogan is just... ridiculous.
Oh, God, in terms of that elo, he is on another level. Like, I don't know why he's in that. He should be like higher. But like then 6-stack is kind of like different to the solo queue. You've got less builds than Yasa. I mean, not that anyone needs to feel for him because he's on a he's a DPS really. The reason Jade was so dominant, particularly in the final, was because they couldn't deal with Krogan, they couldn't dive on him. When MW3 played Reinhardt, he was outplayed by Dover, because obviously nobody outplays Dover on Reinhardt, but MW3 went on to Winston. MW3 is a great Winston, I really rate him.
Yeah, MW3 is an amazing tank.
It got to the point where Turnback couldn't sort out, well, they couldn't at the time sort out not the communication, but the coordination of the dive on Krogan. And I believe if they did that, they could have won a game or two. But it was kind of just a situation of like, they would dive for him, but not together. But it would be like MW3 diving on his own. He'd get a full load from a full clip from Kroger, but and then TDT would go on his own, and J-Star, and would just do the point off. You should go together. But
I never talked to you, but how did the what's it called, the All-Star games go? Because I heard our team won.
Great, I really enjoyed it actually.
But I hadn't. Well, the working was just crazy.
Well, I mean, you could look back at the games and the interviews and all that sort of stuff, but we took it very seriously. I believe. Well, it was a mix of seriousness and having fun, obviously. But it was me, MW3, Messi, Hardscope, Swerves, Lucy, and Dactron.
Yeah, Dak's amazing. I love Dak.
Dak's so pure. And we'll talk about it in a sec, but
I remember you were like so against having Dak on the team, and I was like, nah, you don't understand.
No, it was kind of like, it was a situation like a lot of people had asked me, like it got to the point where there was a guy, well, obviously Alex Thompson, who played for Turnback, was one, another one, I'm trying to remember who else. But anyway, it got to the point where like they had a first, so I was like, yeah, come get me on the team. And obviously Dactron wasn't an original assigned sub, it was Soccer, Ben 10, AIDS, and another one. But then I was like, once all the people who had to check if they could, well, the way the first choice was Dak, like I was like, yeah, I'm not going to pick anyone else.
Yeah, like
I mean, I didn't know
if I knew I was gonna work when we were picking people, I would have definitely like, hey, do Dak instead of me. Like Dak would have been my choice. Cause he replaced me on SBL too, cause I knew he was gonna be amazing. But you know,
we'll talk about Dak, and here's it. I do not have enough praise for the guy. Honestly, he's. I mean, if you're talking about PMA, he is probably the most PMA guy you'll ever meet. It got to the point where we Z9'd the map against in the final actually against Capricorn's team, where we pretty much won. Then I can't remember his name. Fenzo, the Turnback diva, threw a diva bomb out, and we all just got off the point in it Z9'd, and we were like, no, you know, and we were just I was tilted out of my mind at least. And you know what Dak does? He gets out, you know, the ukulele and starts playing the song. We all just calm down and go on to win the series. We sort out our tactics, and honestly, not. I mean, like, if you ever get the chance to have him on your team, or if you ever get the chance to play with him, like he's an amazing guy. Much love for Dactron, but again, so we had Dak, Messi, Lucy, Swerves, and MW3, who MW3 I queue with, so sometimes, so that was quite fun. But we kind of had a game plan of. We noticed that Messi obviously plays a good Farah, like a very good Farah. So what we did, we kind of realised the teams that we could have come up against none of them could run double hit scan. None of them could run a good soldier as well as a good McCree. All of them could run a good McCree, Capricorn's a nutty McCree, J-Star's a good McCree, who we ended up placing. But obviously, if you're running McCree alone against the dive comp, you can get those super easily. And we just thought if we coordinate the dive on that McCree, Messi's going to have nothing to contest against, and that's why he got MVP at the end of the day. Because he had so little. I mean, he popped off. I mean, you see it, but.
Did you hear about all?
Kind of like our game plan.
Did you hear about all the drama that was going on with the Proto Niao?
Yeah, I'm not sure where I stand on it, to be completely honest. I've heard him speak, so I'm kind of like, yeah, I know who it is, and obviously he's had interviews and stuff. But again, you never know at the end of the day. I think then the one thing I would say more than anything that the AG community needs to improve on is kind of like regulating, kind of like make sure there's no account sharing, make sure there's no smurfing, and there are ways to do that. Like a lot of people say, oh, it's so hard to to realise there's a Smurf in there, or realise there's someone using someone else's account. You can always.
Well, apparently, Messi Hardscope was multiple people that was using the account.
Yeah, that's account sharing. Yeah, but then again, like it's back to I've heard him speak. So unless it's another person, like when he's not speaking, I wouldn't think so with how he's acted, but it would be pretty disappointing if it did turn out that there was an account sharing situation. But I mean, there's so many ways to avoid it though. At the end of the day, you can have it when the AG spans, not if, when. You can kind of have more staff. You can end up getting a regulator in every party, making sure they have voice logs of all the people, and like it can get to the point where, okay, we know who this person sounds like every week. If that voice changes, we're like, hang on, that's not the same. That's an account share. It's obvious. As well as that, you can get voice logs of people who are playing in the GM league. You can get people who are very high in general, and then you can compare those. If you notice, hang on, there's a similarity there. You can compare them. You can say that sounds the same. We're going to bring them in to see if they can both talk at the same time. And if they can't, you know how it works. You know that it's a Smurf. I mean, obviously it's a lot of effort. It's very complicated to deal with, but there are ways to deal with. There are ways to deal with it at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, it's a problem, and I wish teams would have more integrity with that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit scummy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's how it is. You will always get it, and I think as a community, we've just got to figure out how the best way of doing it as possible is. If that makes sense. Like, what can we do as a community to try and decrease it or stop it? I guess that's kind of the goal.
Yeah. It's just an interesting effect. Do you have any like closing stuff before we finish off the episode that you want to talk about?
I've just got a shout out from the Team Saints. My boys Sal and Gamer and Keegan and Sheep and Epic and maybe soon to be a new member, but I won't. May not be a new member, but I won't. They'll know who they are. I would plug my channel, but I don't have the link on me. Just search up ZigZagSC and look at my MLG POVs and I don't know what you call them, VODs and all that sort of stuff. And good luck in the GM League. Yeah, VODs, that's it.
Whoa,
But yeah, good luck to all the GM teams. That's another thing I'll say, and much love for everyone who casts, everyone who works for AG, everyone who's like watching, and to you, Max. And I really like what you're doing with this team stuff. Nobody does what you do.
No, it was really cool how it came up. We were like, I remember because we were casting. I forgot what. I think it was like an AGL match, possibly like for season 1, and it was just like me, Zach, Plague, and then this is a podcast thing came up, and I was like, oh, we should do that. And then I was like, yeah, and then took it, and then we're here where we are now. So awesome. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening to the tale of the Zigzag. Stay tuned next time. Yeah, that's what's up. Stay tuned next time for whoever is the next episode, I guess. But yeah, you guys have a good day.